Hello, and welcome to another episode of Decentralounge, brought to you by Global Stake, which is your institutional, truly decentralized, bare metal institutional staking service provider. And today we're excited. We have a wonderful guest on the show, Karnika E. Yashwant, otherwise known as Mr. Key everywhere in the space. Mr. Key, he's a notable figure in the cryptocurrency space, recognized for his entrepreneurial ventures and contributions to the blockchain technology industry. He's the co-founder of Forward Protocol, which is a project aimed at promoting blockchain adoption by removing traditional barriers to entry in the space. And additionally, Mr. Key is the CEO and managing partner of Utopian Capital, which has some changes coming to it here in the near future. But it's a firm that supports blockchain projects in a highly competitive sector. He's also the founder of Key Difference Media, which is a leading blockchain marketing agency. But Mr. Key's impact extends beyond those roles. He's been involved in the blockchain cryptocurrency space since 2013 and has been instrumental in facilitating the fundraising of over $550 million for his clients through KDM. His expertise in ICO marketing and strategy have made significant contributions to the success of various crypto startups. He's also an award-winning speaker and author. In summary, Mr. Key, we're very excited to have you on today.
I am super thrilled. It's an exciting time and really enjoying my time here. Thank you so much, guys.
Of course, appreciate it. So let's just kind of start things from the very beginning. Can you talk to our listeners who are institutional clients, really your background, and then what inspired you, sparked you, got you into the cryptocurrency space, and what's led you to today?
Okay, so before that, I think it's important to understand where I come from. Whenever I talk about the world of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, I mention that it is philosophy first and technology second. So I quit my education when I was 14 years old. I started my business back then. And I had to grow with the challenges of the existing structure, which was not designed for someone who is out of the box. It's designed for people in the box, for the herd. And it was a strong and challenging journey. It was 2013, 10 years before, when I stumbled across some of my clients in the marketing space, in the traditional marketing world. They were talking about Bitcoin, and I was like, what is this? I mean, because I'm a content marketer and I had to market, I had to get the word out and make people understand what those businesses were talking about. And I had no idea what this Bitcoin was. And I started researching it. And the first thing that struck me hard was that it is the philosophical background there that is so much in line with what I believe the world should be, the values and the ethos that it represents. So that point in time, I decided there's nothing else in the world I want to do other than be in the space with the values that I always believed. And that was my start. So I was running the oldest blockchain marketing agency, and we worked with a lot of companies back then. 2017 was the time when the space became hotter with the whole ICO spree, etc. From the end of 2016. We were on the forefront of that. I was heading crypto news media outlets, 3 of the top 10 back in that time. Was part of News BTC, Bitcoinist, and many others. So from there, we continued to just expand. We saw opportunities. The industry was very small, very few people. The opportunities had to, it's problems that needs to be solved, and that's opportunities. So it needed someone to put in the time, effort to fix something. And I come from all my years of my business, building businesses that last. I'm not someone who opens up a shop and shuts something down, and that's not something that goes well with me. So we built businesses that thrive over the 16 years till now. And in the blockchain space, every one of our business is up and running, irrespective of the market, irrespective of the challenges. So that was my journey across marketing, funding, venture capital, incubating companies, running crypto news media outlets, all of that, I guess, end of the day.
It's really fascinating because being that you have the marketing background, you have this, at least from my perspective, this additional kind of gusto or oomph that most people in the institutional investment space don't necessarily have. A lot of them only interact with their own networks and try and share deals with each other. But you're kind of going out and evangelizing, is a good way of putting it, I guess, to the masses. So I'm kind of curious if you could give us a high level overview, or even dive deeper if you'd prefer, into the three companies that you're known for. So again, that would be Forward Protocol, Utopian Capital, which you said has some changes coming up, and then Key Difference Media. Like, how do all three of those kind of mesh and work together?
Okay, so think about this. We are solving a critical problem in the space, and that is blockchain adoption. And how can that be solved? The only way is if the value from the traditional world, institutional world, and the Web 2 world can move onto the world of blockchain. And that transition has few major challenges, which is what every one of my companies solves. So if you look at Forward Protocol is that infrastructure. It is the first challenge in the blockchain. People don't understand something. It needs to be simple for them to, like a Canva or a Wix, they should be able to drag, drop, deploy, and go live. So Forward solves that critical issue where anybody with zero understanding of the world of technology can deploy their own blockchain, deploy their dApps on the blockchain, get it up and running, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and that's it. They don't have to spend money and time raising funds and trying to hire developers and all of that. So that's on the infrastructure side. Whereas the key difference, if you look at it, the Key Difference Labs is an accelerator in Dubai, which is focused on onboarding those Web 2 businesses, enterprises to the Web 3. So if you just ask someone, okay, here is an tool, infrastructure, just go use it, go live, it is not enough. That is great from a tech standpoint, but they need enablement. They need someone who can hold their hands, guide them, educate them, stay with them, and take them through the journey. And that's exactly what Key Difference Labs does. And our fund, which is Key Difference Capital, is focused on investing in that trajectory in those companies. So the major alignment across all the brands is one thing: value. What can we build that we don't look back and say, oh, that was a great effort, it went down the drain, but something that you look back 5 years down the line and you're proud you contributed. It is still live, it's still running, it's still generating revenue. It's a sustainable, proper business that you can count on. It is not looking at investors' money. It's not just looking at raising some money, running with it. There's a runway and then you stop that because there's no runway anymore. That's not how businesses are built, or that's not at least how I like to build businesses. I like to see myself as a perpetual entrepreneur who builds businesses that stand perpetually, which is something that I believe institutional community members of yours can resonate, because that's exactly the ethos that they have, building something that's strong, that lasts, and that's tight. So that's exactly what each and every company does. They help each other, they work hand in hand with each other, and they build every one of them. So the Utopian Capital by itself is a single family office of ours, whereas the Key Difference Capital is something that has LPs, limited partners as well.
Awesome. So then Key Difference Capital, it sounds like you're not a passive investor when you are investing in these projects. You're definitely diving in deep. You're helping the founders, helping to really in any way that they can. So kind of a more specific question on the marketing aspect. What challenges have you faced trying to actually market Web3 technology, blockchain, et cetera, into the ecosystem to Web 2 people that don't really understand what's going on? How have you overcome those hurdles? What challenges have you faced?
I think the biggest fact is that mostly Web3 products are not marketed to Web2 users because they don't even understand how to connect the MetaMask, set up a wallet, and all of that. The first rule of thumb has always been for us to just don't even try marketing to people if your product is not ready to be marketed for them. If it's an exchange, sure, it's a centralized exchange, you can market to them because it makes sense. They sign up, they do a KYC, then they deposit. It's like a bank account for them. But if it is a decentralized product, it is just too much afar. So the first thing really is to make it simple. How do you make something exactly sound like something that people are used to, something that they don't need to be educated to use, that is not beyond their existing flow or process? So we need to dumb down not only the communication, but the product itself in a way it is able to onboard. Otherwise, your conversion is going to be bad, and then the campaign appears like a failure, which is not what we want. So we start looking at the product, looking at finding who the right audience is, if that Web2 audience is even right for that. If that is the case, then the communication goes to the point of so simple that everybody just get it. The good example I can give you is real world assets. We have quite a lot of businesses that we are either incubating or that we are marketing in the real world asset space. And for them, it is a narrative, the story that matters. it is an equal opportunity that you give to people. If everybody in the world can be part of a bigger asset, which is in one part, which was not allowed for people across the world all along, if 8 billion people are able to access something, that is beautiful. And if you take it from there, and if for them, if it's a matter of sign up, use your bank or your credit card or your crypto wallet as an option to fund it and buy it, it's exactly how they've been buying things online. It's exactly the same as any other marketplace. It becomes easy for them. So aligning the ideas in parallel to what they already know and understand has been a key factor for success. Then people are like, oh, it's exactly like something I know. That's easy. Let me join. Rather than I'll bookmark this, I'll come back to this. I need to spend a weekend on understanding this. Well, that weekend never comes. People, if they're good at one thing, that's procrastination. So let's try to not bring anything closest to that.
So then, keeping the train of thought, I'm curious, how do you overcome once these people are starting to understand the technology and they want to dive in and play? Obviously, Forward Protocol, but separately expanding out, how do you overcome the branding aspect of when people are like, wait, what's Avalanche? What's Cosmos? What's Polkadot? Like, what's happening? Solana? This thing just like, how do you help sift through all that and say, this is where you should build your project, real world assets, whatever it is, help them kind of land their feet in an ecosystem?
I think when it comes to Forward, our goals are very simple, to not complicate. If a user comes on from outside, there is a very less reason for them to even understand this. If you're building a standard Web2 dApp, do you really think as a user, do you worry about whether you're using MySQL, MongoDB, NoSQL? You don't think about that. And for a business owner, it is again a bit of challenge if they have to understand all of that to make a choice. So it's something that we look at simplifying. Think about it like an e-commerce where you go to your checkout page and you have a lot of different wallets, and you have to choose a wallet which probably something that you already have, or it's a wallet where they give you some offer, maybe 20% off if you use this particular wallet right now. So it's exactly the same experience that we're looking at in Forward. So when someone comes to the page of deployment, there's a default choice made for them. Okay, it's a real world asset. Let's go with Ethereum. You're not going to have a lot of transactions. It's a gaming related. Okay, let's go with Solana. Or if it's based on something like a DeFi, then maybe you have Polygon. So choosing something by default, we have an AI in there. We call it as a W34U bot. So that bot figures a lot of things, helps them choose the template, helps them choose the chain by finding the default chain, by giving them a very simple explanation on why that chain is chosen for them. But they have a choice. They can see, okay, this is a good chain for me, but I can see other chain is offering me a better discount. Maybe they're giving me a rebate of the fees for the next 2 months. I'm going to take that up. I mean, I don't want to be paying fees for the next 2 months. Or maybe someone is giving me a $50 of drop of their tokens I can use for as a credit. Think about it like Amazon credits, Google Cloud credits, or any of those hosting credits. It's exactly similar to that. So we bring that same workflow, the same experience of an e-commerce checking out, all of that in Web3, which is never seen before. So users don't have to think too much. They just read it, they go through the flow. They don't know what they're doing. That's fine. Just click through. It's already choices made for you. Just go ahead and get your dApp up and running.
I love that. That's I've heard a lot of people in the past say I'm an evangelist or I'm trying to help people enter the space of cryptocurrency and blockchain, but I've never really seen anybody do something that holds someone's hand. That alone right there is awesome. Perfect. I love what you guys are doing there. So to kind of zoom out, I'm curious, 2017 is the most memorable for people in recent years of the ICO boom, and then 2021 being like the NFT craze. I'm kind of curious from your perspective, since you're deep in the ecosystem, do you see 2024, 2025 having another quote unquote buzz craze such as like AI blockchains, or do you think we're finally entering the space where the technology is integrating into these Web2 companies to the point that people aren't even really going to notice a craze per se, if my question even makes sense there?
It does make sense. I believe if you ask me, the first thing that comes to my mind is it doesn't matter which trend it is, which year it is. There's only one thing that starts the space of its meme coins. So it's a sad truth. It's not something that makes me happy, but if you see a market, every single time it's a meme coins that goes off the door. But on a more serious note, I think this time the focus is going to be on real world assets and AI. AI is buzzing in the traditional world, so that will obviously be a part of hype in the crypto space as well. But from a crypto specific technology side, I would say real world assets found its niche with where crypto is. There's a lot of regulatory progress that's happening around it, a lot of companies that have woken up to it because it's a very obvious default choice. Something that is divisible, you can divide it into 18 decimals into super tiny parts. Doesn't matter if it's $1 billion asset, you can move around the world, you can do anything with it. It's sitting on your phone. You don't have to worry about moving it cross border by signing some papers that take 6 months of time. It's a beautiful choice with the power of DeFi and what it can do. And more importantly, it is the total value that's going to come from there. Just for Forward Protocol, we have signed over $250 million of assets being tokenized through Forward right at this point. And we have another $1.2 billion that is being processed or incubated to get started on Forward. So that's exactly what's happening. The money is moving by using the power of blockchain. You cannot calculate this as a crypto space value, but yes, there is an $16 trillion and more of real world assets getting on chain. But apart from that, I would definitely say things that go along the lines of zero knowledge proof. But again, that's a bit more technical. But imagine extrapolating that information and using that within the rest of the business use cases. It is not going to happen in 2024. There'll be a hype on that in 2024, but I believe it's going to take a little longer time for business applications to start using ZK to power it up, because that has a lot of benefits which we don't even talk about, because mostly right now it's a buzzword and the technology exists, but its application, or it could even take 2 years, thinking about how slow or how much time it has taken for Web3 to get here, to be more realistic than optimistic. But this year, I think real world assets are the killer.
Just piggybacking on that, Mr. Kia, just a quick question. You talked about Forward Protocol already processing a bunch of the real world assets. Can you give us some specific examples for things that you're already doing on chain? Like I know I've seen US Treasuries coming on chain and Centrifuge Protocol and others. What are the RWAs that you feel are going to be kind of coming first, and then maybe we'll follow up in quick order?
I think whenever I think about real world assets, a lot of people talk about real estate and jumping on all of that, but that has a lot of challenges from a regulation standpoint. So I still believe it is not going to take its strong path, but there are quite a few businesses. Like one of them that we are tokenizing at this point is ships, commercial ships. Imagine being able to own $10 worth of a $25 million cargo ship and being able to earn revenue from that investment, which is definitely more than the 2% that you earn from the bank. You can have a sizable ROI from the service of cargo deliveries and so on. That helps the fleet owners grow the fleet, whereas the individuals around the world can have access to a new asset class. You cannot get this through an ETF. You cannot get this through some of the traditional stocks and other markets. It's a very niche market, which is why it makes it even more beautiful in the real world assets. It's not one more real estate. In the same way, we have guys tokenizing helicopters and water. Water being tokenized at this point is pretty beautiful for me in what it can do. And these are all, again, asset classes which excite me because it's not the same. When I look at something which is repetitive, it's boring. What can you do that's different, that has a niche market, that can win without a lot of competition, and it can still grow on its own in its speed without having to worry about what the other guy is doing? If someone is undercutting the market and putting something out there, oh, there's a new hot real estate marketplace and now everyone else are going to cry. We don't want that. So it's about finding that right opportunities within the space, not just running around with the hype. I think that is important. And these assets are something that's favorite to me. I really like them. And I'm seeing more and more of these kind of assets coming around.
Those are definitely some novel cases. I mean, like I had never heard, that took me totally by surprise. Reminded me of like a REIT kind of structure, but instead you're investing in a cargo ship and then it's, just tokenized and split up and you can have a part ownership. That's a really, really cool concept. I'm really looking forward to learning more about Forward Protocol because honestly, like I have never really looked into it. So this has definitely got me interested.
I want to make sure I heard right. Did you say water? Tokenizing water?
Water, yes. So this is a very, very interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting project because what they're doing is they're looking at water wells and they get someone like PwC or someone to evaluate a water well and calculate the amount of supply that comes. Is it like 100 million gallons of water per year? And then if that is the case, they mint 100 million tokens. So if I hold 1,000 tokens of water, I get 150 years. Basically, it's a perpetual license. It's forever. You get 150 years access to claiming that 1,000 liters of water because you have 1,000 tokens with you every single year, and you just need to pay for shipping and delivery. So basically the transport, packaging and transport, but the water itself is free for you. It doesn't matter what stage the world is in, but this water well has committed that 1,000 liters of water to you if you hold the 1,000 tokens forever, for you, for your family, perpetually, eternally.
I'm blown away, and I can see Ryan has his mouth's open. But I'm assuming that if I was to sell my 1,000 tokens, a percentage of that sale would maybe go back to some type of DAO or foundation that keeps the actual well still running, right? Because if I'm not paying for the water, am I understanding that right?
Okay, so they're basically not doing it that way. They are using the funds that they're raising when they issue these tokens as a way of capitalizing and buying the water well. So either they buy it or lifelong lease it. So you don't have to pay for the water anymore. The moment you buy it, that is the money that goes into actually owning the well. So you do own the wells around the world at that point in time as the representative of this token holder. So the water is in fact for free. And you only have to worry about the packaging and the shipping cost based on your location, based on the nearest well next to you, and all of that. But beyond that, you don't have to pay for the water ever again. It's pure, amazing model that was designed actually 2 years before.
I'm just amazed. I love that. That's very cool. No more Nestle's in the world taking over, like creating all these wells and stealing everybody's water. That's awesome. That's very cool. So for the sake of time, I want to leave us off with kind of this. Going into 2024, 2025, what's like a major project or something that you're very proud, excited about that you want institutional players to know?
Billy, I wouldn't really just say any one project. I would say our labs, key difference labs that we are having in Dubai right now. It is something that everyone should keep an eye on. We are innovating and we are trying to build with some of the traditional businesses, some of the real value businesses, and many of them might be boring. We are not looking at the next Shiba Inu to launch. We are trying to build these kind of boring businesses that can last. So if you are one of the fans of boring businesses that can actually do what it promises, irrespective of the price of the Bitcoin, whether it doesn't matter whether it's up and down, the business has a value that it can share, then Key Difference Labs is something that you should keep an eye on. And the businesses that are deploying through Forward Protocol, they are different because the people involved in the process, every one of us, we are aligned by the same value and ethos. And I think there are a lot of businesses in that ecosystem which are different, which might excite anyone that's watching this.
Wonderful. So then for those that are watching that want to reach out to you, what's the best way? Is it X, Twitter? Is it LinkedIn? How would you prefer people reach out?
Yeah, LinkedIn and Twitter both are great. You can search me with my full name, Karnika Yashwant, in Twitter. You would find me there, or my LinkedIn, the same. Those are amazing, and I assume you'd add it to the description as well, so people can find me easily.
Awesome. Key, it was wonderful having you on today. Really appreciate it. The insights, incredible. For those of you that are listening, please go follow Key and reach out to him if you're interested in partnering and working with him. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on Decentral Lounge.
Yeah, thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you, guys.